Hey, what's up everyone? Sebastian Sanders here, CEO and founder here at Sanders Hand. Today I have the pleasure and the honor to sit down and do an amazing, cool project with some students from the University of Houston. We are sitting down and doing an in-depth interview about Sanders Hand and our journey. And today I have the pleasure of being interviewed by Mrs. Bethany.
Hello everyone, I am Bethany Solomon. I am with the class of Connecting Power to Business, and we're doing a sponsored project, so I want to give a big shout out to the University of Houston for allowing us to have this opportunity with Mr. Sanders. And today we're going to be learning more about his YBC organization and asking him questions about it and doing a deeper dive into him as well.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, for the first question, I really just want to know, how old were you when you started YBC?
When I started Sanders Hand, I was 21, I believe. Actually, I was 20. I was just about to turn 21. This was in April of 2017. This was like 2 or 3 weeks before my birthday. And I was 20. I was a sophomore in college at the time. And the organization just came into my mind. And I didn't want to start a nonprofit. I didn't know how to start a nonprofit. And God just put something in my heart about this organization, the name, the mission. And since then, I took that vision that I had in my dorm and I just ran with it, and it is what it is today. And so I was 20 when I first started this organization. I was still wet behind the ears, super young into business, haven't even graduated from college yet, but I knew I wanted to create something and create a legacy.
Okay, that's really nice. So you were really young when you started it.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming most of your students are young as well.
Yeah.
What is the key thing that you want your students to aspire towards within your organization, since you did start so young?
I want our kids to understand and believe anything is possible. You're never too old, you're never too young to do anything. But most importantly, I want to give them the tools and the resources to become financially stable, produce generational wealth, and change their lives of themselves and their entire family. I look at it like this, if we can increase the projected income of a student in their household and their family, that improves their quality of living, right? So I think the average household income, especially when we talk about minorities and families that are in poverty, I want them to aspire to achieve, income levels that they couldn't even think is possible, because everything starts in the mind. Financial literacy starts in the mind. If you don't believe you can achieve anything in life, it's going to be hard for you to actually achieve it. And so I want our kids to come in knowing that it's not too far-fetched for you to make $1 million by the age of 30. It's not too far-fetched for you to create a successful business that's selling products and services across the world. And so, I think sometimes it can sound cliche and you can hear that so much, but ultimately, if you don't believe, if you don't see something, it's hard for you to believe it. And I want all our kids to understand that you have to see it to believe it when they come through the Young Billionaires Club.
Okay, and I know to piggyback off of that, you said earlier that God put that idea in your mind, and you want to, inspire that financial literacy through your students. I know you said God put that in your mind, but also, is there a personal experience that you had from when you were younger that created that motivation within you to start YBC?
That's a great question. Business has been around my family since I was 12 or 13 years old. So I always tell a story. My father had bought my grandmother a piece of property in Memphis, Texas. So in the front, she had her home, and then in the back, it was just open acres. And originally my dad wanted to build a garage, but at some point he changed the business and said he wanted to build a dog kennel. And so I was 12 years old. We built this dog kennel, and I was selling the dogs. I was bathing the dogs. I was, digging the kennels and all. I was doing all types of stuff that I wasn't supposed to be doing at 12 years old. But I learned so much about business to where I was infatuated with it. And even kind of going back to when I was 3 or 4 years old, the average kid wanted toys. I wanted play money and cell phones, right? And so I wanted to be just like my dad. So every time I go to the dollar store, I go to Dollar General, I'm like, Granny, give me a cell phone and some money. She's like, boy, you got a whole drawer full of money and cell phone at home. And so I think I just always been infatuated with money and business and leadership. And so as I grew as a young teen and a young adult, I was always going into different phases of my life, doing some type of business. So when I was 12, I was working at the family property. When I got into middle school, I started to sell a little bit of candy. I really wasn't successful at that because I ate a lot of my product. You're not supposed to eat your product at all. I was tearing my candy up before I even got to 4th period. So that wasn't a successful business, but I learned how to hustle and how to do certain things. I used to wash cars. I used to sell CDs. That was kind of my most successful business. I sold CDs as a kid. I used to steal the songs off the LimeWire. Business was completely illegal, but I was making money, so it is what it is. And then I had a t-shirt brand that I used to sell, t-shirts here and there. So I was always figuring out different hustles. So I think kind of going back to me when I was a kid, kids are impressionable. So you want to be or you want to do something that's around you. And I think my mom being in business, she was a hairstylist, independent contractor, entrepreneur. My whole life, my dad being an investor and a businessman, seeing them do those things that they did, I've always wanted to follow that and create my own. So I think that kind of fueled me to be the younger entrepreneur. And now that I want to go back and create the next generation of entrepreneurs, because I think of it like I have my parents in my life, but the average child who's coming from a specific area of poverty or just an area that's challenged, they may not have a mentor or a leader at home. So they may not feel like I can go be successful, I can be an entrepreneur. So their dreams are ultimately killed when they're a child. And I want to be that light of hope that says, hey, you can do anything that you want to do.
No, I really like that, and I can definitely resonate, and I know a lot of other people can resonate with the fact that that sort of hope can be killed really early on. And so as you're creating this next generation of young billionaires, and as you've already founded Sanders Hand and YBC, I know some obstacles should have come with that as well, some ups and downs. So tell us a little bit more about those things that you've had to handle within your entrepreneurial journey.
A lot of people don't know. The first few years of this organization, there was no Young Billionaires Club. The Young Billionaires Club came in 2021. When we first started, we had so many different programs. We had the Define Success program, and we had a whole bunch of other programs that didn't just have a name. I was just freestyling things. I was running off of passion. This is more of a passion project the first 4 years, and I think we struggled because we didn't have an identity, so it was hard to fundraise. So a lot of the times I was self-funding projects, or I would just use family and friends to donate, right? We didn't have a value proposition. I didn't have anything that I can ultimately say this will make us stand out, that I can actually sell or package. And we really didn't have a way to track any data. So this organization, it was just really a nonprofit that was just running off of hope. We didn't have anything going on for the first few years. When I got my first big job and I got into corporate, I started to understand systems. I started to understand structure. And then I started to surround myself around successful nonprofit leaders. And I remember telling myself, hey, we have to change this organization or this organization is going to fail. The average small business fails within the first 5 years. And I think the nonprofits, I think that's going down to 3 years. The average nonprofit doesn't have a long shelf life. And I never wanted to be an organization that was here and gone. Because I think about organizations that I seen as a kid. I think it was the DARE program. The DARE program against drugs or something like that. I remember we used to see them. They used to have those videos in the classroom. And I remember I would go to Walmart and you would see a DARE program outside fundraising. And I remember asking the guy, and I was like, hey, why are you guys outside fundraising? He was saying, our funding is being cut. We're in the verse of shut down. We're just out here trying to raise a few dollars so we can stay alive. And it stuck with me because I said, you know what? That program was around for when I was a kid, and it's done so well, and it's changed so many lives. I don't want to get to a point to where my organization is going to be like that, right? There's nothing wrong with fundraising, but I don't want to get to a point to where we're on the verge of shutting down because there's no structure, there's no system. So the first few years, I was feeling my way forward until 2021 when the Young Billionaires Club was created. And that's when we really started to build structure, and that's when things really started to change. And then 2023 is when I woke up and I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to step away from my role. I'm at Frito-Lay at the time, and I wanted to go full-time with the organization. That's when I really got into the organization, and I really restructured everything. We opened up the thrift store. We really became a more household program. We had a solid curriculum, and things really started to have a new light. But honestly, the first few years, if I wasn't feeling my way forward, I wouldn't be here today. Because the first few years, there was no money made, right? We were making less than $10,000 a year. And honestly, it was a humbling moment for me because I got to learn so much about the business while learning the ins and the outs. I had to learn how to do marketing, the supply chain, the sales. I had to learn how to build my own curriculums, my own contracts. I was my own volunteer for the longest because I didn't have the resources to pay anybody and I didn't have the knowledge. So I think anybody that wants to get into business, you're not going to be successful off the bat. There's no such thing as success overnight. But if you want to be here for a long time and not a good time, you have to sacrifice those first few years and realize that it's going to take some time. But once it gets to a point where you start to hit stride, everything all starts to fall in place. And we're in that place now to where everything is starting to fall in place and opportunities are coming and we're able to meet our partners, our donors, our kids, and our parents halfway.
And I know you just talked a little bit about it, and how you can, persevere forward with those ups and downs.
Yeah.
But could you go a little bit deeper in people, like, I guess, failing when it comes to entrepreneurship, and the advice you have on how to handle that failure and that intellectual strength that you created to persevere through it yourself.
You know, I can talk about when we opened up the Young Billionaires Club thrift store. It was a huge project. It was the first time I actually done something on that scale. You know, we opened up a brick and mortar front. We built the front out. We had to go and redesign the whole store, get in all the inventory, build up the POS system. We did so much. And this is my first time like really being a full-time entrepreneur. And the process was so, you know, exciting, but I can honestly say I might have been over ambitious in that. And as an entrepreneur, you're going to have projects. As an entrepreneur, you think everything you touch is automatically gold, right? Every time you do something, you think, okay, we're gonna hit $1 million, all these great things. But sometimes some projects, they're great, but they may be a few years late. So it may not be the right time for that project. Sometimes the market is different, the customers are different, your consumers are different. And so one of the things that I learned when we opened up the thrift store was we were late 5 years. If we would have maybe opened that thrift store maybe 2020, 2019, when shopping was different, maybe we would have had more success, right? And so, and I don't like to say it wasn't successful because it built us up to be where we are today. But if you're looking at it from a financial standpoint and a business standpoint, the thrift store was something that I had to learn how to actually fail and hit rock bottom and pull myself out of it. Because in entrepreneurship, a lot of times we think we're going to avoid failure by doing all the things right. We literally did everything right. It just didn't work in our favor as far as the sales aspect. We won on the community side and the emotional standpoint and the program side, but from a sales perspective, we didn't hit the financial goals that I projected that we wanted to hit. And so a part of the reasoning of keeping the main thing and taking ourselves out of the store was to preserve and peel back the onion of all the losses that we had from a sales point. But the thing about entrepreneurship is you have to understand that sometimes the best way to succeed is by failing. And if I didn't fail in a store, I honestly wouldn't know how to read a profit and loss statement. I wouldn't know how to market. I wouldn't know how to run ads. I wouldn't understand the supply chain. And all of those things that I learned, it made me become a better business leader, a better mentor to students. But also, you know, now being a professor, I can go back and bring real world experiences to the classroom and teach you, you know, how to do things because I've done it, right? I've opened up brick and mortars. I've done two. I think I've done two in 2 years, right? And so I've done the event space and I've done the YBC thrift store literally all within a year. And I can honestly say, you know, sometimes like I thought I would learn so much by reading a book or listening to a podcast, but those failures, those moments when you hit rock bottom and you don't even know how you're gonna pay the bills is really how I learned how to be a better business person. And so I tell every entrepreneur that you can't be afraid to fail, but at some point the failure is gonna come. But it's all about how you bounce back and how you look at the failure. And of course, you know, I can say that, you know, I have a different perspective on it now, but in the midst of the storm, you don't want to fail. You hate yourself, you're mad at yourself. But that comes with entrepreneurship. It has the ups and the downs. Just like in life, you have the good and the bad. You can't escape it. You're not always going to have 100% success rate at everything. You're going to have to take some losses. But you have to learn how to get married with the losses and understand that that loss is going to be with you forever, but turn that loss into a lesson and turn that lesson into some type of profit.
Okay, yeah. And I feel like since we're talking about failures, it's only right that we also talk about successes.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to know more specifically about either it's a student or you yourself that you saw a moment of that, I guess, dream that you had of starting YBC actually happening and coming to life. And kind of your thoughts and feelings about that as well.
I've seen so many students come through and launch businesses. So there's a few that come to top of mind. I had a young man that came with us July 2024. He was a part of our summer program that year. This young man, he was super ambitious. He was like maybe 12 or 13. He was young, but he can talk really well. He can sell really well. And he had a mobile car wash idea. And I remember he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I get a few clients, you know, working with my dad and things like that. But he said, I want to get more clients. And we had our graduation and our students were graduating, they were pitching their businesses. And one of our bank sponsors at the time, their CEO of the bank came to speak to our kids. And this young guy, young TJ, he was just walking around telling everybody about his business. And at the end of this event, he told me, hey, Mr. Sanders, like I got 3 customers. And it's so amazing to see, because scary money doesn't make any money. And I tell the kids that all the time. You can't be afraid to ask and tell people about your business, because we don't know what we don't know. And if he didn't walk around and pitch his business, he wouldn't have those 3 customers. Fast forward a year later, I seen that he has his Instagram page up. He has pictures of his clients. He has like a menu. And me and his mom are really good business friends, so I stay in contact with him and his parents. But just to see his business go from an idea to an actual Instagram page, he's actually selling his services. He's actually have a menu where you can see his prices, and he's showing you the before and after. It warms your heart, because you see those ideas come from an idea to actually take it to the marketplace. So that's one of the kids that come to the top of my mind. I have another young lady that's been with me probably since she was in middle school. So when I met her, she was a part of a group project, and they had an idea at the time, but they were really, really young. So we kind of created an idea for them, but I knew they may not necessarily take it to the marketplace, but I wanted to teach them the business skills. Fast forward to today, she's a Girl Scout. She's a part of the cadet team. She's a leader on campus. I want to say she's a sophomore now, going into her junior year. But she's now our young entrepreneur residence, where she comes back and she kind of like a mentor for the program, where she comes speaks to the students. She comes talk about her experience, and she's been a part of every program that we've had since 2023, where she just comes back as a mentor. So we've had so many success stories of our kids coming back, being a mentor, launching their business, or just coming back and just being an intern. And it's so exciting to see, because they're actually in the marketplace selling their services. We have another young lady, her name is Karen. She comes in and volunteers with us whenever she has time. She has an event-based business. She now kind of does a lot of our decor, but she also does events with her mom. So her mom is a caterer. She partners with her mom, and she does the decor. So now they're selling a 2-for-1 package. And so I'm so excited to see the growth of that. And our organization was built off of the back of college students who didn't know anything. And only thing I knew is, if you knock down, if you can look up, you can get up. And so throughout every season of this business, of this organization, one of the things that I think I'm so happy to see is we went from an idea with no identity, no programming, no name, no structure, no curriculum, to a statewide initiative in the state of Texas, of being a new career tech, new state org, taking this idea from something grassroots, local, and going statewide, and now going national, and then going international in Ghana. It just shows you that anything is possible in entrepreneurship, and anything is possible when you believe.
Okay, well, I know for the people who are watching, you've created that interest, you've ignited that want to begin. So I guess now I kind of want to leave the floor to you to talk more about who you're looking for, who can start, and the future you see for YBC and the people in it. And yeah, tell us more about that.
Yeah, we are looking for a young person who has the heart for change. Because you gotta have passion, you gotta have your heart into business, right? Because if you're not passionate about it and you're only focused on the money, as soon as you receive that first loss, you don't wanna do it no more. So I'm looking for students that have a heart of change, who are innovative, who are empowering others, and who's ready to really take that idea, and it's not just an idea anymore. You're ready to take that idea and launch it to the marketplace. I'm looking for somebody that's hungry, that's ambitious, that wanted more than anybody in this world, because entrepreneurship sometimes it's a process. Just like success is a journey, right? And so you got to understand that even when you're not winning and things are not moving at the rate that you want, you still have that same hunger to wake up each and every day and go and get it like there's no tomorrow. So I'm looking for somebody that ages 12 to 25, that's ready, that wanted, that's either already started a business or wants to start a business, or you don't even know anything about business, but you just have an interest in it. I want you here at the Young Billionaires Club. I want you a part of our program, whether you're joining a local CTSO chapter or you're an independent student. I want you here. We want to bring you in. We want to teach you. We want to give you the resources, give you the opportunity, and then we're going to put you in a setting to where you get to compete for seed funding. And the great thing about our program is when we recruit our students, you're not just going to learn a bunch of education. You're actually getting an opportunity at the end of that program, or you go into a competition. You're on that stage competing for real money. We give out $500, sometimes up to $1,000. Just in the last year or so, the last 4 or 5 years, we've given back little over $20,000 of cash funding and prizes and awards to our students to launch their businesses. And we're getting ready to do some amazing things. Next year, we're getting ready to roll out the Young Billionaires Club stock market. So we're going to have a directory for all of the alumni students who have made it and graduated. You get to list your business on our own stock market. So we're not saying like you're going to make it to like the world stock market. We're creating a young Billionaires Club stock market. If it's a one of its kind, it's the only that you will ever see. And we're going to list your business. And let's say you come in and you launch a business and you create a mobile hair care business, and your name is Little Sally's Hair Care. Your business is listed on our stock market, and we have a set price that we're basing your price on your business estimated from, and your business stock can be $10, and you get to see people actively invest into your business just like they would actively invest into a stock. And so if you really want to see yourself advance to the next level, start this business, take it to the marketplace, be listed on this stock market, we want you here at the Young Billionaires Club. We need you here at the Young Billionaires Club, and I want to see you apply and become a YBC member.
Nice. Well, I want to say thank you so much for doing this. We got to learn a lot about you, a lot about Sanders Hand and YBC, and I really do hope that everyone watching has ignited that interest and taking that first step forward to join and actually grow their entrepreneurial, aspirations. And thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. It's been an honor. Thank you to you and your team members, to the University of Houston, for allowing students to come in and do projects like this. Like, this is so dope and amazing to see. And visit our website at sandershand.org to join our program. If you want to partner with our program, parents, you can sign your kids up. You can join the online campus. Teachers and administrators, educators, if you're working at a campus and you want to bring the CTSO chapter to your campus, visit our website. All the information is there for you. And don't look for change, be the change.